Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Georgiana again with Expressions Craft Studio, and today we're doing leaf number 19 from Shivani Creations video where she does the 30 leaves, and I've linked it below. I feel like I've said that so many times, I'm stumbling over it. So to start with, now she does hers strictly by hand. I'm not comfortable doing that. I don't feel like I can hold on to it well enough. I feel like I'd get frustrated really easy trying to keep the loops all the same size. And since I have other options, I'm going to use the other options, and then you can see how those work. But you can totally do it by hand if that's something that you want to try or you're comfortable doing. I'm just not particularly comfortable doing it that way. So I'm going to use my board here. Now there's this little air section over here where the pins go. Whoops, there we are. And it's smaller, so I won't be able to make it the same size as, or do as many loops as she did, but you can still accomplish kind of the same look. So let me just kind of move stuff out of the way here. I should have been better prepared, just so you can see those. I think they'll show up okay against the purple. So you can see they don't have as many loops in them, but they're still useful. You can still use them. So to start off with, I put a pin in the bottom and then a pin straight above it. And because I really struggle to glue the way she does with, just to glue that around, I actually pre-rolled mine a little bit and put some glue to make a little loop so that I can start that way. And then we're just going to start rolling. Now, it seems like, if I remember correctly, she did not do a lot of gluing at the bottom of hers, but I have found if I don't, it tends to want to, oops, that's too much. It tends to want to come apart when I take it off the pins. And so I prefer to glue it. If I can grab a pin here. I cut my fingernails this morning, and now I can't grab anything. I'd gotten so used to having them longer, but it makes typing a lot more difficult for me because my nails tend to grow down and around the tip of my finger, and apparently that's abnormal. I've been told. It's just the way my nails work, so I don't think too much about it, but it does make typing more difficult, so eventually I do have to cut them. And I know somebody at some point, if not currently, will say, well, why don't you slap some polish on those? Because I can't keep it on, between it just not wanting to dry on me and me picking it off. It's just more trouble than it's worth. I do like it, I just don't do it. So now I've done those 3 loops, which is the most I can do on this little board. So I'm going to come down and stick a pin down here. And I actually try to go up above first. And then I'm going to come back around, and again, I'm still trying to keep everything kind of low. I'm going to just redo that pin a little bit. And keep the glue. Now you don't have to do this, she doesn't, but I've found that if I don't, it tends to fall apart on me, and then I'm trying to shove these loops back into themselves, which sometimes works and sometimes it doesn't. So now we're going to put the pin here, and we're going to come down and around, and again I'm going to add a little bit of glue on the bottom, maybe. Problem is I go from not getting any glue to getting too much glue. Alright, so, and this is where I glued this strip together. So now I'm going to come down here and do this last loop. A little bit more glue. There we go. Circle back around and put this pin in. Whoops, I'm smashing right there. So this one goes here. And we're going to come back around and glue at the bottom. Now, she took hers off to wrap it. I didn't with the first two. I left it on the pins. So that's what I'm going to do with this one, just to kind of keep them all uniform. I'll skip that glue and then I'll come back around and I'll glue again. And I'm just wrapping until I run out of strip. So I think I get 4 wraps. And then I don't have enough to do it again, so I will cut that one off. And we'll glue that down. Okay, so I'm going to put my pin back in here. I bent it yesterday trying to get it back in there because the glue had dried. So now you're just going to take your pins out, and these come out pretty easily. And there you have your petal. Oops, let's see here. So that one actually turned out better than the other two because I made that little loop to start with. So yeah, I like that. So let's see what we get here. I think this was how she ended up putting them together, but I wouldn't swear to it. I'm going to flip that so that that seam's on the inside. Yeah. This one, again, it's because because of the way I tried to glue it like she does, but while it was on the pins, and it kind of pulls those center loops over to the side where the glue is, and it did it on both of them. I tried to kind of refold it and readjust it. I just really couldn't make it do anything. So, but you see with this one where I did the little loop first and glued it around the quilling tool, that it stayed lined up much better. It didn't tend to lean into the side. So I do like it better with that little loop, and it was much easier for me to not fuss with it. So we're going to set this one off to the side. I'm going to show you the other tool that I have, and I actually have 2 of these. This one's for quilling specifically. The other one is for wire wrap jewelry or like chainmail type stuff. You could use it if you have one of those, and the good thing about it is some of the pegs that come with it are bigger round, you know, so that you can get a bigger loop if you want. But this is what I did yesterday, and one of them I wanted to show you something about. It was different. Oh, it was this one here. Let me see, where did I put that piece of paper? So I'll just show it compared to this one and see if you can see the difference. I didn't get my pins back in the right spot, and so it came out a lot narrower, and it squished that middle loop. So that is something you want to watch. Try to make sure you get your pins back in. And I knew when I did it, after I had gone around the second pin and I'd already had glue on it, that it was wrong, but it was too late at that point. So that just goes into the bone pile to be used at a later date. And we'll set these up here. So this is the other little board. Now they have newer ones too that have little lines across the bottom that are then, you know, have spaces between them, and that's for a different style of quilling. I don't have that one. I've had this for years, and I had just now seen it when I went out and looked. But it's like this. It just has an extension on the bottom, and your pins are kept in here. Now your pins are all the same except for one, and I don't think this will show up, but it's more of a bronze color, whereas the rest of them are all silver. And that's how you can distinguish the one that's got the slot in it. So if I can find Oh, I put it up here so it'd be easy to find. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing on this. I'm going to do a pre-loop so that I can not sit here and struggle trying to get that to glue down and in ways that I don't want it to glue down. So I just thread the slot, and then I'm just going to start wrapping it, trying to kind of keep it straight. It's hard because there's not much to hang on to here. And then once I've got it rolled a time or two, I'm going to put a little glue on it and roll that out. Okay. Once I think that glue's set, I'm going to put my peg back in. Now, oopsie, I'm using, some of these holes get pretty close together, so I'm actually using the last top line that goes all the way across. There's all kinds of patterns you can make on this, but just in case you want to make this leaf the way I did it, I'm just using this top one, and then I'm just going to put a peg in every hole above that until I've got 5 loops. So I'll pull that back out because I am going to need some of those. And we're going to start wrapping. Now, once again, I am going to glue. Make sure you can see this. Let me zoom in a little bit. Make sure you can see just a little bit of glue. And I kind of just spin my board as I find it easier sometimes. I'll grab another pin and put it in the hole right above the previous one, and we're going to go back around. And again, this is 2 10.5-inch strips of paper glued together. Little dab of glue, go around, grab another pin, come back around, and I just pretty much glue after every single one. And that is 3 loops, so this will be 4, because you don't count the first pin if you're trying to make it look like hers. Now obviously I've got that first initial loop that I use around my slotted pin, but that's just, like I said, that's just easier for me. There's always more than one way to do something generally. And then this will be our last one, if I believe. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, yep, last one. So we're going to come down and we're going to glue again. Now we're going to come up to the top, and this time I want to put a pin right there, so right next to the other pin. Let me see if you can see that. So they're right next together, and I could go lower. Do I want to go lower? Maybe I'll go lower, but then that would put the next one. Yeah, that's all right. So I did one lower. So let me pull that back up so you can see it. Whoop, whoop, whoop. There you go. But still right next to the one in the center. I'm going to come down and around. Oh, I do want to glue. Pull it back up. Grab another pin. We want to keep that in line with that one. That looks good. Come back down. Okay, so now we need our last pin on this side, and I'm going to put it, I'm going to put it down here. So it's one underneath the, I won't describe square. So it's one row down, but it's also, there's a hole in between these two. You just can't see it because my quilling strip is in there. So it's not the next hole over to the right, it's 2 holes over, if that makes sense. And for our last pin, And to get my head in the way here for a second, make sure I get it in the right hole. Okay, now this is where she wrapped hers in her hand, but that's how she did the whole thing, was in her hand. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it on the board because I like the stability of having all of the pins there. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on this one. And we'll wrap it back around one more time. Trim it off. And our last little bit of glue. Now, these pegs are harder to get out than the pins, as you can imagine. They're thicker, they fit into the holes better, plus you've got a lot more tension on them than you can get onto those pins. So they do sometimes are a little bit difficult to get out of there, although this one's not so bad. The one where I had them too close together, which would have been this row, this next row, I'd actually put it over in this hole, and that was too close together and it was really hard to get the pins out of there. I did eventually manage it, but then I didn't like the flower or the leaf petal when it was done. Alright, so I take them all out except the one with the slot in it, because you will take it out, but you want to pull it from the bottom. And I'll just stick it right back in there. So there's our leaf. Oopsie. So you see how I shaped the other two? That's what I'm going to do with this one. So you can't get a lot of a point on here just because there's so many layers of paper there. But on the top, I kind of point it and then push it down. Now she didn't do that necessarily, but I kind of like that little shape. So now we're going to glue it together, if I remember correctly. And look at that, isn't that cute? So let me see here. Alright, so I've got a little bitty leftover strip here, and I'm trying to decide if it's going to be long enough. It is cardstock, so it's a little thicker. Yeah, it'll be long enough. So I'm going to glue that, and so I just folded it in half to make it a little bit shorter and a little bit stiffer. And I'm just running a little bead of glue, or trying to. And keep those lined up. And that's pretty good. Alright, so now I don't think her center one came down that far. No, it didn't. But you do have options, so you can do it like that, or you can do it like this. Whoops. Which, let me think about this. Which one do I actually like better? I like that one. But she pushes it down a little bit so that those are touching the center, and then that only goes down so far. Oh, I like that too. Alright, we'll do it that way. She talked me into it. Okay. Do our glue. And we're going to go this way. Oh, I think that's pretty good. It's holding. Okay, so I'm going to put some glue down here on the end, because I think it'll touch that stem up through there, and then some around on the sides on the end. I can see just the tiniest little hair stuck in there. I probably glued it in. I have very brittle hair because of my thyroid, I think. And didn't used to be when I was younger. In fact, I used to have a lot more of it when I was younger. There we go. Ooh, I like it. Let me find my pen. Get rid of that blob on top. There we go. There we go. Now, I like the way that one looks. I like it a lot. And if I took a little bit longer to do it, I could wrap each loop in a different color or alternating colors just to give it a little bit more variety. But I think that looks really nice. I'm very pleased with that one. So this was, what did we say, leaf number 19? And, well, just for the fun of it, let's see what this one does when I glue it together. Oh, see how it's coming apart? Because I didn't glue it, because she didn't glue. And so, but once you get it glued down on something, it'll be fine. It's just in the, you know, the working with it stages that, so I definitely want that one in the middle, and these two, I guess, on the outside. Or maybe I want them to go this way. I really wish that didn't want to go over as far as it does. I wonder if I can fix that. Not really. I'm trying, but it's just not working. Let me try this. Nope. Again, because it's not glued. Yeah. Alright, so let's just glue this sucker together. And I'm not going to put the stem in this one because it's kind of a mess up anyway, so we'll just see how it turns out. Okay, so there you have them both. One has 3 loops on the inside. One has the 5. And they're just different. I have to say I do like the 5 loops better. That is the thing about this smaller husking board that's attached to this, is you're just not going to get real big loops. But if you did fuller loops around, you know, that, or, you know, like more like a daisy, that could be cool too. Anyway, that's what we have, leaf number 19, and tomorrow we'll do 20, which looks kind of like, I'm looking at a picture of it, it looks kind of like some of the other ones, but we'll see. I'm sure there's a difference in there somewhere. Anyway, that was fun. I really like that one. So thanks for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow.